Let's discuss the Z52, what it is, who is it for, what does it mean for Nikon, what we can expect more from Nikon going forward. Nikon launched the camera quite quietly. We've been expecting this camera for some time, but still it felt like it happened without any drum roll or anything. My voice is a little off because I have a bit of cold, so excuse me for that. But let's discuss what we know about this camera so far and what my opinion on this camera is. I have owned the Z50 version on for a long time. I own the Z30, which is in my hand right now. I don't have my Z50II yet, but I'm going to get my hands on to that pretty soon. Now let's discuss a few things that I think is a solid points for the version 2 of the Z50. I have a few points written here. First of all, it comes to the Speed 7 processor. So you get the autofocus at speed prowess. The camera wakes up faster apparently. It wakes up now almost half a second faster. Like when you switch on the camera, it just wakes up faster. Autofocus, you have straight from the day one, you have bird autofocus, which even the Z63, which I'm recording this video on, doesn't have. The Z63 doesn't have bird autofocus. The Z52 has bird autofocus, which is fantastic because a lot of people will actually would want to use this camera as a second companion camera for their birding kit. And so the Z50 with bird autofocus sounds like a very powerful proposition. At the same time, remember that the Z8, Z9, those cameras have to push 46, almost 46 megapixels of data through the image pipeline, so through the internals of the camera. But for Z50, sad, the version 2 Z50 still comes with the same 20 megapixel sensor. So there is not as much data, not as many megapixels. So I think the bird autofocus on the Z52 is going to be far more powerful, far more accurate and fast. Even if it is not more powerful and faster than the Z8 and the Z9, it's actually going to not be less powerful, less speedy than those cameras, just because it has to push through less data. Now, I have already told you one of the cons of this camera, which I had planned to discuss later on, which is the fact that it doesn't come with a new sensor. But it does not come with a new sensor. It's the same sensor that you have seen in D500. It's a capable sensor, but at this point you probably would want to see more because you've seen a refresh of sensor on Sony APS-C cameras and Fuji APS-C cameras. People are innovating out there, so maybe a new sensor would be nice. It has a fantastic 3D autofocus that you have in all your Speed 7 cameras. So you have that in the new Z52, which is fantastic. Now in video you have 10-bit 420 N log. So you can shoot in log, you can shoot in 10-bit 420, but you can shoot without crop. It's a DX or a crop sensor camera. You can shoot without crop up to 4K 30. If you go to 4K 60, you can do 4K 60, but it's going to come with another 1.5 times crop. So that's again a bit of a disappointment for me. You cannot, you can do 1080, 120, however, which is good, and it doesn't come with any digital crop. The camera actually comes with something called a product review mode, where you basically, like if I have to focus on this camera, I have to hide my eyes. But you have this feature on many Sony cameras for some years now. Basically, even if I hold a product on the side but forward, the camera will know that I want the camera to focus on the product, and it's going to do that. You don't have that on other Nikon cameras, so I'm expecting that this software ability or software feature will trickle down to the other more expensive cameras. But the Z52 comes inbuilt with this feature, which is really good. But also the Z52, much like the Z30 here, comes with a tally light, and which means that when you're recording a video, you can see that you're actually recording. You can see a recording confirmation. It is coming with an improved battery, so it's the same size of battery. The battery is like this. The new one is a gray colored battery, but of the same size, but with probably more juice. So that's a good thing, but it's a bit sad that it doesn't come with a bigger battery, especially because the body now is going to be bigger. It's a much bigger body. It's more than 500 grams. I think 520 or 530 grams, which is not very light. So I would have liked to see a bigger battery. I would have liked to see a bigger battery if possible, but then that hasn't happened. The resolution doesn't change in the TVF, but it's a, I think the brightness is double now. Oh, so that's a good thing. Nikon have done that across the cameras. Z9, Z8 have the same kind of EVF that you've seen in Z7II or Z6II, but they're brighter. It's only the Z6III where you have actually seen an increase in the resolution of the EVF along with the brightness of the EVF. The Z52 EVF is 1000 nits EVF, which is really bright in most situations, really bright. So congratulations. If you want to buy this camera, the EVF is going to be good. In terms of cons, like I said, I think the image sensor, the 20 megapixel 20 point I think 9 image sensor, I would have liked that to be refreshed. I'd have liked to see a 30, 24, 28, 30 megapixel sensor, just because, if you already have a Z8 or Z9, if you want to have a B wildlife camera, if you crop that 46 megapixel sensor to APS-C mode, you're already getting 20 megapixels. So it seems like it's not really giving you any additional benefit. It makes sense if you don't want to go for a Z8 or a Z9, but you want to invest on those nice long lenses, or even the 180 to 600 for wildlife and for birding, and instead of going for a pro body like that, maybe go for something like the Z52 with a fantastic autofocus, colors, very good raw files, and bird autofocus in a smaller body, in a camera that's less than $1,000 and about 80,000 Indian rupees. So I think it's a great proposition for someone who want to start affordable with their wildlife photography or filmmaking kit. But in that, the problem is the camera does not come with an IBIS, and those long lenses also don't come with their IBIS either. So it's got the same 20 megapixel sensor. It has got no IBIS. For video, it doesn't have a crop free 4K 60. It crops in 4K 60. That's sad. Also, it could have had a full HD 240, which this camera doesn't come with. So I think it's a decent entry level wildlife and vlogging camera. It comes with a flip out screen, just like the Z30 here, right? It's an entry level nice vlogging camera and an entry level studio camera, a YouTube camera, very good colors, beautiful Nikon colors, entry level wildlife photography camera, filmmaking camera. But it doesn't feel like a complete, it doesn't feel like this is it for the Nikon APS-C line. It feels like Nikon can do better because Sony has something like an A6700. So I think there is potential for Nikon to do a bit more. And probably actually look at a Z70. Actually look at a Z70 where you have an IBIS. Look, since the body is already bigger, I would have thought that it could have housed a bigger battery and a better IBIS, but it didn't. Maybe that would have made the camera a bit more expensive, maybe $1,500, 12, $1,300. But I think there's a market for that as well, where you want a bit more full-featured APS-C camera. In 2024, the XP 7 processor and the resultant performance, autofocus performance upgrade and 10-bit video files, that is expected in 2024 from a new Nikon APS-C body. But I think Nikon didn't go as far as Nikon could have gone with this camera, and it's because of that reason I look at this as a mild upgrade. And I think there is potential for Nikon to grow this camera further and give us a more full-featured camera. Maybe call it a Z70. Let me know what you think. And I'm going to come back with a video again. Maybe actually have my hands on with the real Z52 and do a field review of it. I'm going to see you soon. Subscribe and help the channel grow.